Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so very excited to have you here. Today I'm just going to be doing my monthly recaps, all the books that I read in September, so I'm not going to really say much because there's not really much to say and I'm just going to get right into it. So the first book that I read this month was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I'm actually not going to talk a lot about this book because I filmed a video when I read this and it's basically just a gigantic brain dump. So literally every thought that I had while reading this series, I just dumped it all out for you pretty much. I have run into every single problem imaginable with getting that video up for you guys, so I don't know when that's going to be. I'll probably have to wait until Nick comes home so that way he can bring my computer and I can get everything situated that way. I'm kind of sitting at a standstill with that one, unfortunately, so you will get that one probably by like November, December. I'm sorry, I do hate to do that, but it is coming, so just kind of watch out for it. But I literally give you every single thought that ran through my head with these books. Essentially, this one was just talking about main character Lily and second main character Ryle. They were in a relationship, not a good relationship, and it was really just kind of her navigating her way through that, navigating her way through her new business, just the whole nine. So this one I ended up giving a 3 stars. I liked it. It was realistic, but it was crappy, you know? I didn't want to be like, yeah, I love this book when it was really not great. It was very interesting to read. I did have a lot going on in my brain while I was reading this, so it was something that was fascinating and very eye-opening. But since it wasn't my favorite and it was just kind of odd and it did make me very uncomfortable, I ended up giving this one a 3 stars. Then moving along to the second book in that little series, I guess it is. So this one basically just starts off with her and Atlas, and they decide to like go on a date and kind of just see how that goes. But again, this is in that other video as well, so I'm not really going to say very much about this one, but I did end up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars as well. There was still some touchy subjects in this one as well, but I didn't really care about the relationship aspect of this one, so it was just okay. I think then next I started on my Kindle mystery series. So the first book that I read for that one was Too Soon for Adios, and that one, again, it wasn't necessarily my favorite. It took me so long to actually get into the book. I think I said like maybe 70% of it. It was just kind of boring and I didn't really care. I liked the aspect that there was chefs and stuff. I do enjoy cooking in books, but that was pretty much it. And then just kind of the love interest fell flat for me, unfortunately. I didn't really care about it that much. It was just okay. It was kind of boring. Wasn't my favorite. It definitely wasn't something that I would pick to read on my own, hence why I read it for the mystery challenge. But that book took me so long to actually get through. I couldn't even tell you how long it took me. I think it was like a couple weeks at least that I was working on that, unfortunately. So that's a little embarrassing. All in all, I ended up giving that one a 3 out of 5 stars. Again, it was okay. Wasn't great. Wasn't terrible. I ended up liking it at one point, but not enough to get any higher than a 3. Then the second book that I read in that video, I read The Paris Apartments by Lucy Foley, and that one, I don't know what I thought that book was going to be, but it was not what I got. I was not expecting literally any of that, and I think I said before in that last one, it was basically just kind of putting the pieces together instead of trying to figure out who did it, really. So it wasn't very thrilling, I guess. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I definitely was curious about the whole thing, but it wasn't like anything too intense for me. We're following the main character. She tried to figure out what happened to her brother. He was supposed to be there at his apartment to pick her up when she came into town, and she got there to his apartment and he was nowhere to be found. So she was basically just trying to figure out what happened to him the whole time and follow leads and figure out why everybody in the building is acting weird and try to piece together how they're involved. She thinks that all the tenants in the building are involved in his disappearance somehow. It was pretty good. Definitely not my favorite. Probably wouldn't necessarily recommend it to anybody. It just was like, it was fine. It wasn't anything great, wasn't anything bad, but I ended up giving that one a 3 out of 5 stars as well. Then I did a little bit of a weekend reading vlog, and I started off with Reckless Girls, and I kind of liked it. So basically, the main girl and the main guy end up taking these 2 girls on this little deserted island, and this other couple shows up on the island as well. So it's this group of 6 people on this island together. They're having a good time, but the island is kind of mysterious. There's a bunch of people that went missing, a bunch of people that died and stuff like that. There's just a bunch of stories about this island, but they end up going anyways, and then somebody shows up on the island. It's kind of weird, making everybody uncomfortable. Nobody really likes him. Well, he ends up disappearing. They have no idea where he went. They figure that he just leaves, but he's found dead in the island. So they're basically just trying to figure out what's going on, and then also kind of like who's doing it. But I liked it. I thought it was kind of good, actually. It definitely, again, it wasn't like the best thing I've ever read, but it was pretty entertaining. I read this in a day, so I didn't necessarily want to put it down, which is a good sign. I liked it, but I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars, the first 4-star book that we had this month. Everything was just kind of like meh, but this one definitely took it up an extra notch. Then in that video, I read Where the Crawdads Sing, and I had already seen the movie for this, and I've told you before that I kind of have a difficult time separating the books from the movie when I've already seen the movie. It's a little bit easier whenever I read the book first and then watch the movie, just because that way you can kind of like visualize as you're watching it what all they left out of it, versus the other way around. You've already seen it and then it's like, oh, well, did they add this in the movie? I don't really remember. At least that's the way it is for me. I like the movie a lot, so this was just kind of like an extension to that. It was nice to read this with like the characters already in my head, so I don't have to like try to picture them for myself, which I already can't picture them anyways. I'm really bad about that. But I like this one, can't go wrong. Other than the trigger warnings, check the trigger warnings if you're interested in this one. But I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars as well. Then the last 2 books that I read were part of a series, so I don't really remember necessarily what happened in the first one or the second one, so I'm just gonna probably try to group them together a little bit. It's called Upheaval, and I think it's a Fault Lines series, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what that is. But if you have seen San Andreas, the movie, this is pretty much kind of like a, not essentially, not actually, but kind of like a replica of that movie. So basically, we follow the 3 main characters. There's the daughter, the dad, and then the mom. So the daughter ends up going on a camping trip with her Girl Scouts team. The dad and the mom are just kind of like at work, but they're separated. So they're all 3 in separate areas when this earthquake happens. So the earthquake happens and the girl is going up a mountain. Well, she gets caught in like a landslide and wipes out her entire group of Girl Scouts, and she's the only survivor, so she has to figure out how to get back and find her dad. He just got off of work and now he's going to find her, so they're trying to find each other, and then the mom lives in a different city, so she's kind of doing her own thing. It's good. I liked it. However, the people in this series, they have no survival skills whatsoever. Like the main characters do, but the people that they're surrounding themselves with, I don't even know. I don't know how they made it for so long. They have like no common sense whatsoever. It's weird to read it because I'm looking at it, I'm like, I would so not do that, or I would do this, I would do this, I would do this. But these people are like, oh, there's a tsunami coming. Let me stop my car. And it's just weird. I don't understand it. Each of these books are like 200 pages long, and then they just kind of follow finding each of the family members and stuff. So the first one is the dad trying to find the daughter, and then the second one is they're trying to find the mom, and I think the third one is probably going to be like them finding the mom and maybe them getting all out. I don't really know. I'm reading the third one right now, but I've just read the first 2. And both of them, I ended up giving them a 3 out of 5 stars. Again, I liked them, but just the people were so ridiculous. Like at this point, like I kind of feel like they deserve to die. It was just weird, but I do really love San Andreas. It's probably one of my favorite movies, and I did enjoy kind of like reading a book that was in similar fashion to that movie. But that's pretty much it. That's all. That's all I read this month. I know I said I was going to read more than I did last month, and I did. I read an extra book. I read one more. But this coming month in October, I'm definitely going to be reading a lot more. I have a ton of stuff planned. Like, literally a ton. And also I'm trying to pre-film a bunch of other stuff for November because Nick is supposedly going to come back mid-November-ish, but I am expecting him sometime in November, so I do want to have some stuff ready to post whenever he comes back, so that way I'm not focusing on doing any of this. I can actually spend time with him and enjoy his company. So there might be a little bit of overlap that you'll see coming up in between the October recaps and the books that I'm reading in November. So that's pretty much where that is coming from. Sorry, but it is what it is. But my October recap probably will be a lot. It will definitely be a lot more than there was this month. Maybe double. We might double it. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being interested in what I read this month. I know it's not anything crazy. I wanted to read some different stuff, and I think I did that. So I don't know. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you've thought of them. Literally just anything that you got, let me know. I'm curious. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hopefully will get to see you in the next one. Bye.